Hello and welcome back to In Your Defense. I'm attorney Steve Toland. You know, one of the most stressful times with me as a parent is sort of teaching my kids as they're about to learn to drive, about the rules of the road, and starting to educate them about the peer pressures of alcohol and drugs. And that is by far one of the most stressful times in the last 20 years that I'm dealing with families and helping them through tough times, is helping parents understand how to educate their children on alcohol. So I thought it'd be important to do a series on minors and alcohol in Texas. So let's start this series off with 4 things to remember about minors and consumption of alcohol here in Texas. First thing to remember is that it's any amount of alcohol that can subject your child to a ticket for minors in consumption. It's 0.00, as probably makes sense, right? Common sense. You have to be over 21 or over, obviously, to drink alcohol. So any amount of alcohol counts, and a lot of times your child's just going to admit that counts, and that's good. We raise our kids to tell the truth to the police if they're asked a question by the police. So if they admit to drinking, or if alcohol is smelled on their breath, very rare to get a breath or blood test for a minor, but that can happen as well. But those are all the myriad of ways that an officer can prove that your child has consumed alcohol. So any amount of alcohol counts. Second thing to remember is that it's a Class C ticket. It's punishable up to a $500 fine, but it stays on your record if you're not careful. It can really hamper children applying to college. Most college applications, just about every one now, ask a question about any contact with law enforcement, any ticketable offense, not just arrestable offenses. So you want to try and raise your children to where you don't have to deal with these issues. If you can help it, you don't have to deal with the stress of that. The third thing to remember is the exception that exists for minors in consumption. It's really narrow. So that exception, in a nutshell, says that if you are within a vantage point or within sight, if you will, eyesight of your parent, your spouse, or your guardian, then you're allowed to drink alcohol. But that's kind of a rare exception. Most kids who are caught drinking alcohol are not doing it in front of their parents, they're with friends, and so that exception is pretty narrow. Remember that a guardian is somebody who it's under Texas law, is literally their caretaker and guardian, and has those rights under the law. So chaperones don't count. So you can't just have a couple of parents watch over a teenage party and the police come. That's not going to do the trick. The fourth and final point I want to share with you on minors and consumption of alcohol here in Texas is that there is a medical assistance exception. This is a great thing the Texas legislature carved out to protect kids and to encourage them to report issues of overindulgence of alcohol or potential alcohol poisoning. So any conversation you have with your kiddos, you want to be able to really talk to them about this exception. That is, if they themselves think they've had too much to drink and they're scared, they can call and tell any hospital staff, medical assistant, or a police officer and ask for help and say, look, I'm scared, I think I've drank too much, and they're not going to be charged with a minor in consumption, as long as they tell the truth about that and stay and ask for help. Same rule applies for a friend. This is a great rule. The exception works like this. If you are a friend of somebody who's had too much to drink, and you yourself may have had a few sips of alcohol or a little bit of alcohol, you yourself, for reporting your friend that you're scared about that may have alcohol poisoning, you're not going to get charged with a minor in consumption ticket either. As long as you stay the entire time to cooperate with the police or the medical staff, stay with your friend till their parents come, and the hospital staff or nurse or the police stay there with them, and you tell the truth about how much you've had to drink, you are also not going to get a ticket for that. So that's the medical assistance exception. It's a great thing. But those are the 4 points to remember about minors and consumption of alcohol here in Texas. And I hope you'll join us for the rest of our series about how to talk to your kids about alcohol and possession of alcohol. As always, if you have any questions about these issues, please reach out to me, attorney Steve Toland. I'm always here to help. Thanks.